Fin built for the future. The Vector Pro fins don't just look futuristic, they are futuristic. Hi all of you awesome scuba divers out there, welcome to the Scuba Diving Magazine channel, your favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews. Yes, Halcyon have very kindly sent me a pair of their new Vector Pro fins, which are the latest fin on the market that have adjustable buoyancy and even some storage space, which is something that I never thought I would say about a pair of fins. This is how they arrive in a pretty reusable bag. Some of the bags that fins come in with, they're kind of only useful for the initial transport to your home. But this one actually, it's because you've got mesh sections all over it. So if you're reusing it for your fins, it just means that they can air dry between dives. But you've got double drawstring sort of closure on the top, so you can throw it over a shoulder. You've got proper grab handles at the top so you can carry them around. Another cool feature which is quite unique to these fins is they come with these two little pouches which you can move. They got little D-rings to attach them, and these hold the weights. So I've already spoken about them, but if you want to swap them over, or at least keep an extra sort of pair around, you actually have two of those. Yeah. And the other metal ones are actually they're actually inside the bag, but I just fit these ones as well. These are actually hollow, and that rattling you can hear is two bolts that you use to attach them. And yeah, it's quite nice to get these two little baggies that you can keep everything together so that they don't get lost in a drawer or something. You can actually keep them with the fins. Also inside, you get the fins themselves. I'll take a closer look at them in a second. More of these weights, because it's 2 in each fin, so you need 4 in total. The fins come with they do have metal in them. They're like the middle weight, as it were, with like a plastic topper and spring heel straps, the the protection for the foot pocket so that they don't get crushed. You can keep these or you can recycle them, that's really up to you. But yeah, it is mainly just to protect that foot pocket from transport and storage so they don't get crushed and misshapen. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the fins themselves. So the main body of the fins are made from a single piece of monoprene, which is tough, which is important for longevity. It's flexible as well, but still a fairly stiff blade. Most of the flexibility is right in the tip. The rest of the blade is quite reluctant to bend and quite stiff. The overall length measures 58 centimeters, excluding the fin strap, just from here to here. And it's about 24 centimeters at its widest point. As far as weight goes, I weighed just the bare fin. I took out all of the weights, any sort of nuts and bolts and things, and left the spring heel straps in place, and a pair of size extra large, which is the largest size they do, weighed in at 2.14 kilos for the pair of them. The tapered shape of the fin blade, if a little bit longer than a traditional vented fin, which I could suppose you could call this a vented fin, because it does have a couple of vents just at the end of the foot pocket, but the shape of the blade helps to focus your power and control overspray. With every kick, you're moving the water, and that water movement then continues where it can eventually stir up silt if you're not careful. The kind of funneled shape of the blade excels at frog kicks, helicopter turns and reversing without stirring up too much water around you. Looking at the foot pocket, it's quite unusual not to see vents in the foot pocket itself, but the rails at the bottom of that foot pocket do allow your boot to slip in and out without that kind of suction action, and the foot pocket itself is very comfortable. The bottom portion is very rigid, so it's good for transferring energy down toward the blade, whereas the rest, the top and the sides, are quite nice and flexible. So you've got that bend and flex, so depending on what style of boot you fit, they're going to be nice and comfy while still practical. covered metal spring heel straps are very easy to hook over your heels one-handed, and they of course compensate for any kind of compression as you descend. You've got 4 adjustment lengths on each side of that spring heel strap, so I'll let someone who's good with a calculator in the comments to work out how many possible lengths you can create from that single heel strap, but as a diver, you can change the length of that strap quite easily. You just need 2 screwdrivers so that it's more comfortable. It's a big complaint about some spring heel straps that you can't adjust the length, or maybe you only get like 1 adjustment length, but with 4 on both sides, you've got whatever someone says down in the comments, how many, you've got lots of different adjustments. And if you're changing boots, you're going from dry suit to a wetsuit, like a 5mm wetsuit boot down to a 3mm bootie. You just need the same fin strap. You just adjust the heel as required. Now we get onto the really interesting part, which Halcyon call the adjustable ballast system. So this is the best version of this feature that I've seen so far. I've seen other fins where you can change the buoyancy of a particular fin, so it either floats or it sinks, and in my opinion this is the better implementation. You have several ballast choices, and if you get creative, you can mix and match and make these fins as buoyant as you need them. The bare fins, without any ballast plugs, they sink ever so slightly in fresh water. You can see where the fin wants to float, but the metal straps are then pulling them down, and then by using any combination of weights that you prefer, you can make them less buoyant. The heaviest weights you can use weigh 300 grams each. That's a dry weight. It doesn't relate to buoyancy, obviously. Well, it relates to buoyancy, but it's not an exact science like that. And they feel like, yeah, really solid metal blocks. The standard blocks that come in the fin have a dry weight of 177 grams, and Halcyon also have what they call canisters. The canisters weigh just 57 grams because they're hollow aluminium, but they have an airtight screw top chamber with an O-ring seal that you can use for like spare O-rings, lead shot for real custom weighting, or things like rescue dye packs. If you're lost at sea, then you can deploy it from there, or what I'm most intrigued by, what Halcyon describes in their literature as built in space for future symbiosis monitoring technology, which I can imagine means further trim sensors for fin kick analysis sensor type things. Either way, welcome to the future, people, where you have fins that have built-in storage and sensors built into them. As far as sizes go, at the moment they only have 3 sizes of this fin: medium, a large, and an extra large, which is this pair here. I am a UK size 10 and they fit fine on my rock boots from my dry suit. I wouldn't want to go much larger, or I wouldn't want much larger feet. If you have large feet and really chunky rock boots, then you may struggle to find a size that fits. On the other end of the spectrum, the medium goes down to a UK 5. It's complicated with like thin wetsuit booties and dry suit rock boots, but if you have small feet or really large feet, then try them on first at a Halcyon dealer with your boots, and if you don't fit, then of course let Halcyon know, so they know how much interest there is in like larger or smaller sizes. Just write, hey Halcyon, I'd love a pair of these fins, but I couldn't find one that'll fit, and they'll take that into consideration. So who are the Vector Pro fins for? They're definitely aimed at technical divers and divers with a lot of experience in the water. The reason I say that is that they are quite stiff, but wearing them in the water, they do have quite a familiar power to them and good precision control. If you really need to just make small adjustments, they're really good for that. They also do have a fairly large price tag. They are not the most expensive fin I've ever tested, but they are close, and they do have more party tricks than any other fin, especially with that like ballast system. So there's a reason for that price tag. I myself have like a few pairs of fins that I use recreationally based on which boot I'm wearing, but with the adjustability in these fins, that isn't an issue. So I'd only ever need one pair of fins, and the ability to change the buoyancy of the fin is great. If your feet typically float or sink, you don't have to worry about like ankle weights or anything because they're built into the fin. It's also handy to have some emergency storage in your fins if you don't need that weight. Granted, it isn't a huge amount of storage, but every little helps. Performance-wise, yeah, they are great. They're comfortable. I like the way that they've moved the lead a bit closer towards the foot pocket so you don't really notice it. It doesn't feel like you're swinging around a real heavy fin. They feel really nice and light in the water, but they're moving you through the water. They're tough as nails, because they are that single piece of monoprene, so you don't have to worry about them. They're relatively flat as well, so on the deck of a boat, it's not going to get, you're not going to stub your fin tip anywhere too much. And if you ever change from like, yeah, a wetsuit to a dry suit, or like fresh to salt water, you can change the strap, you can change the buoyancy in minutes with basic tools. One thing that I would prefer to see is some standardization in their fittings. You need a pair of Phillips screwdrivers for the heel strap to adjust them. You then need a flat head for this weight retainer pin, and then you need an Allen key for this metal version of that pin. I'd like to see some kind of unification, so everything is Phillips, or everything is flathead, or everything is Allen key. Granted, it's all on like a single multi-tool that most divers have in their Save a Dive kit. However, yeah, I'd like to see some kind of standardization. Not a deal breaker, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, just one thing that I picked up on. I'd also like to see some color options. I know techie fins, they're designed to be black, but I think brighter colors that help you be seen in the water are increasing in popularity today. That and size options, which I already mentioned. I've seen firsthand the frustration of some divers with large or small feet who have to settle for a different pair of fins just because they fit. The manufacturer is only wearing up the costs of like molds and stocking sizes that won't sell in large numbers, but my wife, for example, wouldn't be able to wear the size medium fins because they're too large for her small feet. They're one of those fins that I look at with the hindsight of all of my other pair of fins that are just gathering dust that I've owned over the years, and the amount of money that I've spent for them to just gather dust. And I just kind of wish that I'd invested in a pair of fins like these from the beginning, if they're available at that time, obviously. And I think we're going to see more fin designs where you can buy extra weights to adjust their buoyancy. Overall, they are a very good pair of fins, and yeah, that party trick of being able to adjust and add storage is very, very cool. But let me know what you think about the Vector Pro down in the comments, and head over to Halcyon's website to learn more about them, Halcyon's new Symbios dive computer system, and where your nearest Halcyon dealer is. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.